In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to a place at the table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome to a place at the table. It's time for the national scorecard once again. Is the glass half empty or half full? Could it be both? Happy Independence Day, Nigerians.
Is it a happy one, Zumah?
Yes, it is.
Let's just say that I'm not as much in the mood for celebration as I am in the mood for reform. I'm saying it's time to reform how Nigeria appoints the INEC Chairman.
A timely message, Mart. Unlike Zumah, my position is that the glass is more than half empty. I am saying beyond the jollof rice and banter, let's build a nation that works. Welcome to the table, Gbenga.
Oh, thanks, Elsie. I'm with you all on nation building. However, my appraiser is on the primary overseers, parents. Funke, let me ask you a question. When it comes to parenting, who does it better, mother or father?
Well, Gbenga, the jury is out on that one. I'll save my answer for later. Meanwhile, I'll be lending my voice to a cause that is at the heart of nation building, our education system and its neglected stewards. I've titled it, The Cracked Voice of ASUU.
Well, you've heard it. No hidden agenda at the table. We say it like it is. Time to unpack the issues. On the 1st of October 2025, Nigerians at home and abroad came together to celebrate the country's independence from colonial rule. Despite the unprecedented cancellation of the national parade, it is important to reflect with pride on our journey and resolve to address our shortcomings. At 65, Nigeria is a vibrant nation of resilience, diversity, and potential. From recovering from 5 military coups, navigating different systems of government, and sustaining uninterrupted democracy for the past 26 years, to being a global cultural icon, setting the tone for African culture globally through our literature, fashion, music, and movies, to being Africa's largest economy, with growing sectors across technology, agriculture, and the creative industry. This shift highlights our adaptability. Despite achieving this much, there are so many areas where we must aggressively improve to fulfill our promise as a nation. Insecurity has been a persistent challenge in Nigeria. Boko Haram, banditry, and communal clashes disrupt lives and economic progress. We still grapple with high unemployment and economic inequality, which fuels discontent among the citizens. Power is still deficient 65 years later. We are generating less than 6,000 megawatts for 200 million people. The roads are still poor. The healthcare is still inadequate. Corruption is still a huge elephant in the room. And we have over 10 million out-of-school children. We need to do better. We must address insecurity, prioritize job creation, and support sectors like manufacturing, as they are the largest employers of labor. We must invest massively in energy, transportation, education, and healthcare, as these are the things that impact daily quality of life. When these are sorted, innovation becomes natural. And most importantly, we must strengthen anti-corruption agencies and ensure judicial independence, as this will rebuild the eroded trust in the nation. Nigeria's story is one of triumph and challenges. We must unite to tackle our challenges and contribute our bit to building the nation with desire. Happy 65th Independence, Nigeria. What are you contributing to building the country of your dreams?
The people are doing enough already, right? I know when we talk about corruption or things not working, we come with this idea of, oh, the government, we have people there, whatever institution you're calling, there are people there. But if you listen to the speech from the governor of Abia State, there was something he said that is very profound, which is that the leaders must take responsibility. Humans are not created to lead themselves, which is why you have leaders that are supposed to steer the course of a nation, whether it's the cause of even taking away from the nation. If you have an organization, there are people who are responsible for the direction of that organization, which is the same thing as a nation. So you cannot blame the people for what you see because they are working within the system and the environments that have been created for them. And I think leaders should begin to take responsibilities and stop pointing fingers to the people. The people will follow what you have said. If you set a system of consequences for action, everybody will get in line. I think I've brought this example on this table over and over again, and it has to do with what Governor Fashola did when he was in Lagos, when everybody was saying some things are impossible to do. Oh, we can't wear seatbelts, we can't do this. But some of the things in terms of road behavior or road traffic behaviors that we have today started when he was there because of how he was able to implement it and lead by example. So no, the question is not to Nigerians. The question should be to the leaders. What are they doing to move us forward? Right. I think my advocacy will speak more to that.
You haven't answered my question, and you have rephrased the question. Funke, what are you contributing to build up the country of your dreams?
Oh, well, I'm contributing reinvention of the menstrual health landscape. I am contributing investment in sports for young people. In the past years, I've done quite a bit on diaspora relations, telling the stories of Nigerians in the diaspora. In all that I do, I look for the empowerment of the girl child and the empowerment of women. You find me trying to influence leadership. And that way, I have contributed quite a lot. And if you look at what I've done in the last 30 years as a broadcaster, there's a lot.
Thank you, Funke. Gbenga, what are you contributing to build up the country of your dreams?
Okay, so I'm contributing different things from career to youth development to spiritual, because I pray for Nigeria. Yeah.
That's a good one.
We train the youth across the country, even outside the country. That's human capital development, you know. We train them on career development, we train them on entrepreneurship and leadership, you understand. And for example, in this state, I've been part of the faculty that train Lagosian youth in their thousands every year in the last 10 years. In different capacities, different local governments, you know, across. But you see, the question Elsie asked is very, very crucial.
Yeah.
If my parents fail to raise me or to send me to school, how am I going to give back in the nearest future? The function of national parenting is key. Our national parents, our state parents, our local government parents, what do they do? What are they doing for us? That's the critical question that they themselves need to answer. What are they doing for us? We have given, we have been giving, we have been giving, we are still giving. We almost give the last blood in us. Yet our leader seems to be irresponsible.
Imagine if we had visionary governors, you know, such that attention is not always at the center, but that the components, what constitutes the entire leadership of the country is so visionary that you see tangible things that they do. By this 65th independence anniversary, we'll have seen marked changes.
Thank you, Funke. Mart, what are you contributing to building the country of your dreams?
So it's difficult to say because at every point in time in Nigeria, there are different points where you try to patch the country as it's leaking. And so it's difficult to specifically say that whether it's in my private work as a lawyer or private practice as a lawyer or in my development work aspect. It's difficult to come up together and just say, oh, this is what I am doing. But one of the most important thing I think I'm doing right now is to talk and contribute to the society and also, you know, bring remind our leaders and remind our citizens as to what we need to do to move the country forward and to also improve ourselves. So being on this table is something I consider dear and a huge contribution. And back to what Elsie and Gbenga said, you look at it that every country, the leaders of the country represents the country.
Absolutely.
And so if the leadership of the country is not doing right, so it's easier for us to flip the table and say, what are they doing? Because they're supposed to lead us in the right path. Every Nigerian citizen is now their local governments. We know this, and we know why. And so it's extremely difficult to ask a Nigerian who is working very hard, what are you contributing? It feels like an assault to them because they're doing so much. And then you now ask them, it's like Tinubu asking us to sacrifice. People are getting angry.
So it is more for us to reflect on how we are contributing and also articulate and also inspire others on how they can contribute towards building the country they desire. Every time we come on here, we talk about how things are not working, but we hardly ever talk about how what we are doing personally to move the needle forward.
You cannot be driving millions of naira cars as in your convoy, and you want somebody to be trekking all the days of his life. After working for 35 years as a police officer, you are giving him 3 million naira as a severance package. That's an insult on his destiny.
Anyway, that's a totally different conversation. Milestones are occasions to do some soul searching. So let's ask ourselves, what are we contributing to the country of our dreams?
First things first, Zumah. Before making any milestones, let's ensure that the major umpire of our nation building is truly independent. Every election season, Nigerians ask the same question. Can we trust INEC to deliver a fair result? The answer, unfortunately, is never straightforward. Not because the commission is always incompetent, but because its independence is fundamentally compromised from the start. Under the current system, the president appoints the INEC chairman, subject to Senate approval. That means the very person contesting for re-election has the power to choose the referee. No matter how impartial the commission may try to be, this arrangement taints public confidence. Nigerians are left wondering whether INEC is an umpire or a pawn. In a democracy, perception is reality, and this perception undermines our electoral system. We have seen this pattern repeatedly. Opposition parties claim foul before ballots are even printed. Civil society organizations question the neutrality of the commission. And ordinary citizens, already disillusioned, stay home on election day. Democracy cannot thrive on suspicion. If we are serious about reform, the first step is clear. Take the appointment of the INEC chairman out of the president's hands. Imagine a process led by a broad-based, non-partisan selection committee that evaluates civil society leaders, professional associations, faith-based groups, working together to nominate credible candidates, leaving the Senate to transparently confirm them. This approach will be fairer than the current system. Reform should not end there. The INEC chairman must have real security of tenure, removable only through a transparent and bipartisan process. The commission itself should be financially independent, drawing its budgets directly from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, free from executive interference. These are not radical ideas. They are essential for democracy. Nigeria cannot keep risking the legitimacy of its elections. A credible electoral body is the backbone of any democracy, and credibility begins with independence. Until we change how the INEC chairman is appointed, every election will carry a shadow of doubt. The decision is clear. Stick with a system that fosters suspicion, or pursue reforms that give Nigerians confidence that their votes truly matter. If we want democracy to survive, we must choose the latter.
There is nowhere in the world where civil societies, faith-based groups, or professional associations are responsible for selecting electoral commissioners.
Okay.
In the UK, it is appointed, in the US, appointed by the president.
Okay.
But with nominations from the leading parties. In the UK, it is appointed by the monarchy, but nominated by the leading parties. In Nigeria, the president appoints all 9 of them, 6 from each geopolitical zone, and then 3, the executive, and then 2 EVCs. Nigeria's situation is kind of peculiar because let's say you tell people, okay, I am very much for political parties nominating them. By the end of the day, someone still needs to select who is going to lead them. But the question arises when there is no representation from each of the geopolitical zones. Because someone would now come and say, we are being marginalized. We don't have a representation at the Electoral Commission. So, but yes, I agree with you on the need to have tenure security. The fact that no president can come and say, oh, you have to go at this point. I don't know what the current tenure system is for the INEC commissioners, but if that is not applicable,
It's 5 years still.
It's 5 years tenure, and they can only be removed how?
By the president.
By the president. Okay, so not like there's infractions that must have been must have happened. So yes, I don't think civil society or religious, because they are not even invested in the process.
No, you can't say that civil society organizations are not invested in elections, because one of the reasons, you know, I allowed you to speak, one of the reasons you see credible, at least some form of credibility in our electoral processes is the work that civil society organizations contribute
under pressure.
into it.
Yeah.
So if you talk about continuous voters registration, for example, the INEC really doesn't have budget for that.
Yeah.
Civil society organizations champion that.
Yeah.
When you talk about monitoring elections, INEC doesn't have all the resources and the funding to also ensure that elections are monitored credibly across the country. Civil society organizations do that. So civil society organizations are critical in elections. And for the peculiarity of our country, the nature, right? You see, you've mentioned America, you mentioned UK, and how the processes are all done. In Nigeria, we want to feel among because we know we don't trust our leaders. And again, there are no institutions that check these people when we put them there. So it is just as easy as, okay, the president nominates somebody and says, listen, you do my bidding, and if you don't, I'll send the security architecture after you, anti-corruption agencies after you, and that's it.
By the way, who appointed the INEC commissioner when Gage lost the election?
When what?
When Jonathan lost the election.
It was Jonathan.
There we go.
But it was the pressure of
there we go.
No. It was the pressure of the civil society organizations to ensure. Yes, that was what happened. So Jonathan was scared that if he appoints, there was pressure on him to sack Jega.
Yeah.
Serious pressure. Civil society was like, no, you can't sack Jega. You have to maintain it because of credible elections.
The president does not have absolute power to appoint the electoral chair,
to the Senate.
all right? Because even when he nominates, the Senate has to approve. That's number one. And it's the same thing in Ghana. There, the chair of the Electoral Commission is appointed by the president, but only on the advice of the Council of States. In Mexico, the president has no role. How? The National Electoral Institute, right, has its general council, whose president or chair is elected by 2/3 majority vote to the Chamber of Deputies. So there are different ways we can approach this, yeah? If we look at India as well, they also have a peculiar one. You look at even Canada, you mentioned UK. But at the end of the day, where did we get our presidential system of governance from? The US. Why are we not electing those who govern us based on that system? Because they have an electoral college. They have checks and balances along the way, such that at the end of the day, the elections are close to credible.
Okay, so we got our presidential system that we are running from the US, but the British colonized us.
Confusion everywhere.
Confusion. Listen, we misbehave because the rule of law in Nigeria is being ruled by individuals. And when individuals are above the law, the land becomes unproductive and the people becomes lawless. So INEC independence is dependent on individuals' independence.
Absolutely.
I need a gavel, right?
Do you understand?
You know?
So until we see ourselves as a people kind to each other, it does not matter who appoints you. You will know that your vision is to make people happy, not to make your boss happy, because your boss can be selfish.
That's quite interesting, and thank you for putting it that way. But I'm going to relate his advocacy to your advocacy from last week, the one on Yaga, right?
Yes,
and IPC.
Yaga, yes.
And their recommendations, you mentioned that 5 of them stood out, and of those 5, there was still INEC independence.
Yes,
right?
Indeed.
And for a lot of people to come out to be saying the same thing, I don't think we can say we don't know what we are saying, right? As much as you said something around. People would then say, oh, it's not coming from my part or it's not coming from this part. The consecutive INEC chairman, where have they come from? Has anybody even if that conversation came up, I don't think it has been in full proportion to say, oh, it has to be an Igbo person or it has to be someone from the South or something. We just want credible elections. And I like what you said regarding just ensuring that individuals are able to also stand up because, again, forgive me, it's the states that I know of that I will speak of, right? The fact that we have a Governor Oti today is because of one woman, right? So that situation can happen also if you adopt this kind of system that he is talking about, whereby you have different voices, you have different stakeholders. So if you are able to say you are buying 3 of the stakeholders, are you going to buy all the people that he's spoken about? Then you can begin to have those conversations and people can come up to say, no, this is not right. This is what we want to do. So I believe that we need a system, right? I like that we've all mentioned different countries and how it is done. We can take a leaf from what they do, but bring it back home and look at our peculiarity. Because as much as you have to look at what people have done before, sometimes I believe that we have brains as well. We should know what should work for us as a people. The fact that it's working for US doesn't mean that it has to work for us.
Nation building requires a level of sincerity and commitment, or else it's showmanship. I'll say it again. Democracy cannot thrive on suspicion.
Mart, I'm with you on this. I'm one for addressing issues head on. Time to go beyond the jollof rice and banter. Nigeria has turned 65, a milestone that should be a cause for celebration, but also for deep, sober reflection. As much as we preach against peer pressure in our personal lives, a fool at 40 will still be recognized as a fool. Adults who cannot clean themselves will still be reprimanded because no matter how you see it, life comes with expectations. That is why a child who cannot utter a word at age 3 sends his or her parents into panic mode. We share the same oil wealth, potential, and in many cases, the same timeline as nations like the UAE and Qatar, to mention a few. Yet the growth and stories are starkly different. The UAE turned its desert into global hubs for business and tourism. Of course, Qatar as well went ahead to build futuristic cities. Nations such as Kuwait and Angola have also leveraged oil to provide citizens with a higher standard of living and invested heavily in infrastructure. Nigeria, on the other hand, is still defined by power outages, bad roads, collapsed refineries, insecurity, corruption, and hospitals that cannot meet basic needs. The average Nigerian, with all they have to endure, is resilient, strong-willed, and talented. Time and again, Nigerians shine on global stages. However, the country, Nigeria, has not been a stepping stone for Nigerians. Rather, Nigeria kills, demoralizes, and destroys the hope of her young. So the question is simple: what have we done with our resources? Nigeria is not poor. Nigeria has been poorly managed. This is an appeal to all of our leaders to put politics, ethnicity, corruption, and love of money aside to work for the good of this nation. When we come on platforms like this to speak and advocate, it's not because we have any animosity towards any individual, but because we love this country and are invested in it. We need to reach a point as a nation where we are proud of not just our jollof rice, entertainment and banter, but also of our institutions, rule of law, and the kind of government that actually serves its people. May the next 65 years tell a better story.
When we say Nigeria is not a poor country, it's poorly managed, I absolutely disagree. Nigeria is a very poor country compared to the countries you mentioned. Talking about UAE, they produce 3.2 million barrels per day, and they have a population of 11 million people. Talking about Qatar, they produce 1.7 million barrels per day, and they have a population of 3 million people. Nigeria produces 1.7 million barrels per day, and we have 200 million population. So again, apples and oranges. We are a very poor country. But I agree with you, we can do better with the resources that we have. And the leaders need to come together to reduce waste and do more impactful projects. But yes, but we are not rich, we're poor.
Okay, so I disagree with you.
Okay.
It does not matter the millions of barrels that we produce, minus the stolen ones.
Okay.
You have to consider the stolen ones.
It's still there's still a huge gap.
Okay, so let me give you an example.
Nigeria did not just become 200 million from 1960.
Hold on. When they asked Awolowo about the free education scheme, universal basic education, they asked him, where are you going to be getting money to fund this? He answered. He said, an average civil servant, geogas and all that, they read 2 to 3 newspapers every day. He said, you know what? After all, most of them, they carry the same news. Reduce it to 1. Government spending. Reduce it to 1. Others channel it to that education, and that was how he was able to fund. What was our population then? Let me tell you one thing. The increase in our population was matching the increase in our revenue. It is the mismanagement that brought us to this point and nothing more. You know why? The UAE and the Qatar, the places you are mentioning, they are over-enjoying. The basic are there, and they now have luxury. But here, we don't even have basics. The basic amenities, we don't even have. So we are talking about the basic amenities. If our funds are managed properly, we have the basic. I agree with you.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying, but are we comparable? 3 million sharing the same resources between 3 million people with 200 million people.
I agree, but I'm saying I agree with you. But I'm saying with what we have with our resources, we are cool. We are good if it is properly managed.
So it depends on what you consider rich.
Okay.
So I consider myself extremely wealthy.
Thank you.
Love it.
Because I feel like if you drop me in the desert, I can make something out of it, regardless. I might not have one naira, 100,000 or anything, but I consider myself rich. Now, wealth is defined in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Relationships, natural resources, population, and all whatnot. Nigeria has good relationship internationally. Our international foreign policy is at least very good. We are not at war with any country. Our natural resources are in abundance. Our human resources, the same. So what Elsie essentially is saying is that these resources that could have made us better than UAE, better than these countries, the rest of the world, we are not managing those resources better. And that's why we are where we are today. So if you want to then say oil, for example, the 1.7 million barrels that we produce today of crude that we produce today can be increased. The problem is that they don't want to invest in the next 8 years. The investment you require is over 2 billion or 2 trillion or something like that you require to increase the production capacity of oil in Nigeria is enormous. You can get that loan and increase it and drill just behind us here.
Or rather, they invest in driving SUVs.
So we have the resources. There is gold in abundance in Nigeria.
In your village also.
All in my village too.
And in my village. I don't have a village.
Every state in Nigeria has gold. Almost every state in Nigeria. Ghana is considered Gold Coast. The population and landmass of Ghana is nothing compared to Kano, for example.
Niger State.
So, and look at where Ghana is today. It's all about management. The countries you are citing as an example is all about management. And for me, what I consider really instructive in your statement, in your advocacy, is the prayer. that may the next 65 years tell a better story. Because we can't continue like this.
I agree.
As a people.
Well, I love what you wrote here. You said Nigeria kills, demoralizes, destroys the hope of our young. So when you look at the percentage of the young in Nigeria and what we've made of them, you begin to see exactly what Elsie means by that this country is mismanaged. Because the wealth of Nigeria, let's leave the minerals that we have, but the wealth of Nigeria is there in the hearts and the hands of the young. And that's why you see somebody, very young people using technology to make wealth. And we don't have that code. We have not cracked that code yet that the young has in Nigeria today. We've not cracked it as a collective yet. Because apart from you, I see you guys, arguing about is Nigeria wealthy, is Nigeria not wealthy. The kind of wealth that is sitting in technology and the kind of wealth that is accruable to Nigeria from that angle is enormous. It's even incredible. So, and so I agree with you that the problem of Nigeria is that we do not have institutions. Even the judiciary is in the pockets of both the legislature and the executive. We do not have the rule of law. The day we get it right with the rule of law, when somebody can push an aeroplane and not become an ambassador for the same aviation. When somebody can be molested inside a plane and does not, whichever way, does not end up being an ambassador. And when somebody does not go on social media to say she's going to bed 100 men and then becomes an ambassador for anti this and that. You see, there is no, I keep talking about checks and balances. When Zumah, you said it, a law without consequences is a suggestion. We will continue to go back and forth in this mismanagement of resources and mismanagement of the people and mismanagement of our young. Finally, Elsie, you said, and the kind of government that actually serves the people. Because when you serve the people, you will not be like the former governor of Abia State, who is in court right now, allegedly because he siphoned 1 trillion naira abroad. Look at Abia. Do you know what you could have done with 1 trillion? But somebody in his right senses, not mad though, just decides to take 1 trillion and take it out.
How do you know it's in his right senses? With milestones come expectations. It may do us good to put aside celebration and embrace sincere, sober reflection on the way forward.
In the attitude of sober reflection, I'm wondering why children more readily acknowledge the role played by their mothers and not their fathers. Good day, men and women. Part of my assignment in life is to build the youth, so anything and everything that concerns them attracts me. I've been part of several faculties that coach and certify people at different levels, especially in the entrepreneurship or competitions. One major thing that I see every time has become a serious concern for me. During and after tasks by these trainees, especially the females, they always acknowledge their mothers, especially when they win. All praises and accolades go to their mother. Rarely will you find 1 or 2 thanking their fathers for their support and contributions. Now, I have these questions that beckons for answer. Where are the fathers in the lives of these youths or young adults? 2, do the fathers give support to the dreams of their children at all? And 3, did anyone train these youths never to acknowledge their fathers when they succeed? Here are some few observations. I think children praise their mothers more than their fathers and sometimes ignore totally because of early stronger bond through regular care and comfort, often given by the mother in most cases. Due to this, Children may see their mothers as a safe zone, and whenever they have the opportunity to give back, they see their mothers as the first priority for praise and comfort, while fathers are perceived differently, even if they have spent their last blood on the children. I just watched the highlight of another reality show now, and out of about 12 youths, none acknowledge their father, but only mothers and friends. At best, they will say my family, but still mention their mother. Other reasons could be emotional support, time and dedication, societal gender preference, sensitive response, biological and hormonal influences like oxytocin and caregiving via breastfeeding, skin to skin. Also, interaction and communication styles, cultural practices, and time investment are the part of factors responsible. My take, dear men, ensure you do your best for your children beyond paying school fees and sending them abroad for summer holiday. Above all, secure your future.
I love what you closed with, that men should do more than contribute school fees.
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend recently who recently got divorced from the wife. And then I'm like, you have to be very intentional about building a relationship with your children. Before you now come and say one woman has turned your children against you. Nobody is turning anybody against anybody. It is how you show up. Children don't particularly count the provision you make for them as sacrifices. Because to them, you brought them into the world, you owe them that at least they are full adults. So it is the extras that you do. Showing up to the school plays, calling them regularly since they are not living with you anymore, showing up on their birthdays, and talking to them every day, nurturing them. And I would like to call your advocacy Men Supporting Men edition, because this is really fighting for
No, please, I'm not fighting for men. I'm actually advising them and encouraging them because of what I see.
Because of the consequences of their action.
Yeah.
I would say this, men approach parenting from the angle of provision. Women approach parenting from the angle of nurturing. You know, people will forget what you did to them, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
So you are just there doing stuff again. How does your child feel about you? Are you the first person your child will call when they are in trouble? No, because they don't feel safe or trust you, because you don't have a relationship with them. So nobody is, and then mothers' labors and sacrifices are visible to the child as they are more hands-on. You can see your mother sweating, making food for you. Your father just made a transfer. Again, they are not close.
So should we be showing our children the sweat when we are making the money?
As Yorubas people, as Yorubas say that when you're peeling the blind man's granuts, you whistle, so that at least they will know that you are doing something. So it's not just enough to do good work. You need to let the world know that you're doing good work. You need to let your stakeholders, which are your children, know that I'm not just providing for you, I love you with all my life, I will, make sacrifices for you.
When you talked about why, people don't talk about their parents or their fathers all the time, it could also mean a lot of things. Life expectancy ratio between men and women. Men die faster. Whether because they marry younger women or whether they don't look after themselves health-wise is a different ballgame. But the truth of the matter is that fathers die faster than earlier than mothers, and that also could then show that the mother figure presence has been there, and so it's easy to remember.
Could it be the pressure on? Could it be the part of what?
It is pressure of hard work trying to provide.
Thank you.
It's one of it. I mean, if you sit down as a man and you have bills, I mean, it's not just that men are the only ones who pay bills anyway.
That, by the way.
But they show down the responsibility of providing first responder is the man. So if he sits down and you don't want them to call you woman, like you're not providing for your family, you're not this. Even the Bible calls them an infidel. The man that doesn't provide for his children or his family. Worse than an infidel.
Can I quickly correct you? So, sorry, that has nothing to do with marriage. That part in 1 Timothy has nothing to do with marriage. Go and read the whole chapter. It has nothing to do with marriage. So it was talking about the community taking care of widows. People only just pick that part and use it against men. It has something to do with marriage. Thank you.
But you refer to man there, Sha, but let's go.
No, man. This is man. Check the version very well.
We will check it.
Yeah.
And then I like the fact that you mentioned the biological components of the whole thing, and that women and their children, you breastfeed, the skin to skin, all that. He said so. My mom is my wallpaper picture, right? Like, the first thing that comes to my mind in terms of
who calls you every day
is my mom.
There you go.
No. So my sister calls me more than my mom, but my mom is number one. But at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is that when you sit back and I want to do something for someone, if I had extra cash, the first person that comes to my mind right from when I was 17 is my mom. So it's the nature of the nurturing that we get from, or that children get from their mothers, much more than the presence of the father, that makes them to remember them. And we cannot compete with this.
Yeah, it's not about
it should just be that, okay, this is how nature has made it. Let's accept it.
Many of our men lack connection and presence. This is a woman who's carried a child in her womb for 9 months. There's already a
man carried
connection.
it for all his lifetime, Sha.
But please stop.
Sorry. I'm taking you out for lunch. You are not going to Abuja.
By the way, you cannot compare what you carry for a lifetime with what we actually
without
carry.
Oh my Lord.
For 9 months. So there's already a connection. The child comes out, the woman continues to nurture. A man has a crisis or a child has a crisis, goes to his father. Father says, don't bother me, go to your mom. So each time you send them to their moms, you are telling them she's a better alternative. Always choose her. So then children are used to running to their mothers whenever they have crisis, whenever they can celebrate, whatever it is happening to them, they go for their moms first. The only way to break that chain is to come in with connection. You have to have a relationship with your child, such that, do you remember Luther Vandross's song about fathers?
Dance with my father.
Dance with my father. Guys, learn to dance with your children.
With your sons.
Not just sons, with daughters. Basically, with your children. Connect, bond.
Zumah said something about men not getting a lot of advice, and I think that's really profound, because from a woman, how to see it, how to satisfy the man, how to, like, there's a lot. But I think a lot of young boys are left to figure it out by themselves. I saw a video on social media trending where the lecturer mandated the students to dress corporate for their presentation, and you need to see what these boys wore. So I love this advice. I think we need more of it, and I think also that gone are the days when you use the excuse of being a breadwinner to avoid your emotional attachment to your children, because I have a lot of women who are my friends, and they are top there when you talk about their careers. They are making money. They are making way more than what you think an average man is making. But they get up every time to go for their children activities. They connect. They have times to speak in the evenings, in the morning before they go to work. It's a lot of work, but they sacrifice to do it. So you can't hide under I'm providing. What you're providing, a woman is also providing it and still being a mother. So I think men should come together and still have more conversations on how to be present. And there are so many things that they can do, but because they've seen it as it's not masculine enough, this is supposed to be for the mom. No, that's how you build relationship.
So appraisers are key to take stock, to step up and do better. There is always room for improvement, so let's rise to the challenge.
In the spirit of rising to the challenge, I'm speaking out against a system that has turned our custodians of knowledge into career protesters. The cracked voice of ASUU. 3 things are fundamental to citizens of any nation: education, health, and housing. And these 3 security defines them. Education is security, health is security, and shelter is security. Malcolm X says education is the passport to the future. But how secure is the education ecosystem in Nigeria? Like every sector of the economy, it is not immune to the Japa syndrome. Since the 70s, lecturers have continued to demand better wages, yet successive governments have broken their promises repeatedly. Knowledge experts continue to migrate because of low job security. Academic Staff Union of Universities has notified the nation of an impending strike action again. It is wearying that the custodians of knowledge in our institutions have been turned to protesters. ASUU President Professor Christopher Piuna reminded us of the 2009 agreements and collective bargaining that despite the submission of the Alhaji Yahaya Ahmed report in February 2025, the government has failed to act on its recommendations. The Vanguard reports that the federal government has persistently failed to honor agreements and address lingering challenges in the nation's university system. The government proposed Tertiary Institutions Staff Support Fund, TISSF, to provide loans to lecturers. But the union insists that its members need improved wages, not loans, that will incapacitate cooperative societies and enslave members. The union says after deductions, nothing will be left for families. The Punch reports that by October 6, NYC mobilization criteria will now require all students to deposit their thesis or project reports into a national database. The NERD spokesperson Haula Galadima said it is to raise the bar in the quality of academic content, outputs, and presentation nationwide. Here is the thing. It is common to find more than 400 students in a classroom. Yet, those who labor to teach, examine, and supervise these hundreds of students are treated shabbily by the nation. The broken and cracked voice of ASUU is calling for reinforcement by other bodies, like the National University Commission, for instance. How much does a professor in a public university earn monthly? A 65-year-old nation and its citizens can really do better. I stand with ASUU.
Nigerian universities are grossly underfunded, and the staff welfare is very, 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 very poor. And when we talk about corruption in the academic system, a lot of it boils down to the poor staff welfare, because you still those people, you expect them to supervise all the students, right? And they are even unable to cater to their family. Like Jonathan said, it's a yam and the goat analogy. You cannot keep a yam with the goats and not provide another way to feed the goat and think the yam is not going to feed the goat. So a lot of Nigerian issues are interconnected and layered, because people will always seek for means of survival. So the government, absolutely, if we want to improve the quality of our graduates, improve the quality of education, they absolutely need to do more in improving the staff welfare and the entire fund the universities better. But when it comes to funding the university better, I think the private sector also can come in, because it is, in a lot of countries, university funding is not just by the government. You have donors, you have grants doing that, but at least staff welfare that the government has taken responsibility for, they absolutely need to ensure that they have a decent wage.
I mean, I know I have professors in my family, and they are in Nigeria University by choice, lecturing here, but I don't envy their lifestyle. I don't want to be like them. I will never be a professor in Nigeria.
Let me read this out. The total emoluments of a professor for 1 year is less than 10 million naira.
Their salary is 400,000 per month. Let me let you know.
Meaning he will need his salary for more than 10 years to be able to buy a car. That's a professor. I
am telling you, a professor, senior professor in Nigeria earns less than 500,000 naira.
It's appalling.
And I look at myself and I'm like, nah. And these are people who have given their lives 20-something to 30, almost 30 years of their lives to lecturing and imparting knowledge, on young people and shaping the future of Nigeria. And you cannot shape the future of Nigeria when you're not comfortable. You cannot shape the future of even the nearest person beside you when you're not comfortable.
This is the result of what they have shaped. That's what we are in like this.
Exactly. So you see that the problem is scary. And so you see lecturers consistently looking for one consultancy job here or the other, trying to survive and all that. And I said to myself, I'm never going to be like this. I don't want to be like these people. I know where the money is, I'm going to find it. So this career path of saying you want to be a lecturer, you want to even be a medical students who finish from university and go to start off their housemanship and the rest of them. Their entry salary too is about 100,000 naira. It's ridiculous.
It's just so ridiculous.
That is less than $100. The point is, until we begin to maximize our resources and put our resources where it matters most, healthcare, security, education, we would continue to be where we are because we are not prioritizing the things that matter the most. The knowledge economy is extremely important.
Right, and one of my pet peeves is this way that mushroom universities are multiplying everywhere. The many we have that are public universities are not well taken care of. The lecturers can't even afford to pay rent, because how do you even pay rent from what you get in a year?
Wait, this thing that we're talking about, is it a deliberate action to water down education and to frustrate education pillars? Is it intentional? Because now you see people who are mediocres being rewarded with millions. Listen to me. People are being paid millions for sleeping in green and red chambers in Abuja. We were here in this country where Rukayat, former Minister of Education, when they brought the policy that the highest scorer in JAMB should go to university. Second highest scorer, Polytechnic. Least scorers, colleges of education. Do you know the impact on our educational system? And nobody said anything. Please, where is PTA? Instead of our ASUU or the civil society organization, instead of them to focus and really deal with this issue from the root, you know what they do? Once the government called the leadership into one small air-conditioned
closed door meeting,
and they settle them, that is the end of that campaign. That's what they do. So what are they following? They are following the lifestyle of the politicians. That, okay, if you are driving 600 million naira SUV, at least if me too, I can drive 200 or 100 million naira, at least we are close. That is what they are following.
In other words, you're saying sabotage from even the union themselves.
Thank you.
Okay.
So until, you see, these things, they come back to kindness to humanity. Until we see that we are in this world to just make the world better for each other. The greed is, an average Nigerian will do anything to either impress or to oppress. That's it.
So when it comes to ASUU, it's actually a very sad topic for me because education is very important for me, right? My mom used to own a school when she was alive, and it's just painful because you know the impact of what you're doing now in the next 5, 8, 10 years. It's not something you see immediately, but the rot we have now, if we don't find a solution, then Nigeria is heading for worse, right? But I'll just say one thing, because while we're talking about the salaries and all, I was just calculating in my head how much I spend in a week, and I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy, right? But the president and this administration keep saying something over and over again of how they have taken blocked the corruption in subsidy, right? Or taking out the money and have channeled it to other areas.
Why not this one?
So my plea is, can that money also be channeled to giving these important people a better welfare? Because it doesn't make any sense that a senior professor is earning 400,000 naira
in this country
not
of
doctor,
today.
because
so like you
doctor,
said, how
it still takes you
exactly
time.
are they supposed to pay rent? How exactly are they supposed to live without being corrupt? They don't need loans, like you have said. If I want loan, let it be that I want to now live above my means, or there's a major thing, or even maybe buying a car, whatever it is, but I should be able to get the basic, and a professor should live beyond the basic, to be honest.
Well, our positions and emphases may be different, but here at the table, we're all invested in building a nation that works. Are you? If you are, then join us again same time next week to tackle the issues that matter. Until then, it's goodbye from all of us.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.